So in this video I'm going to show you the use of a few different tools for cutting cardboard. Some of them cut straight lines and some cut curved lines. And so the first one I'm going to show you is called the Canary Cutter. You can see here that it's got a razor blade that's somewhat hidden behind two little arms that are sticking out here. It's a pretty safe tool because you can't reach in, even with small fingers, you can't reach in and get the blades. So the way this works is I've taken a piece of cardboard and I've pre-drawn a line here, and you just take the edge of the Canary Cutter, you put it onto the cardboard, and you just pull down. Okay, it takes a little bit of force, not too much, but with it you can cut like that. And if you saw my earlier video of how to use flutes, you could see that you can actually cut this way as well. So if you're just cutting halfway through, you can cut the cardboard with a Canary Cutter as well. The second one that cuts straight lines is called a slice safety cutter. It actually uses a ceramic blade, and I prefer this over an X-Acto knife because it's not quite as dangerous to use. It's still sharp though, so please be careful when using these. And whenever I cut using something that's flat and on a surface, I make sure that I have a cutting board. And even if you don't have access to a cutting board, you could always use another piece of cardboard as your sort of sacrificial board. So in this case, I have my cutting board and I have my straight line. And with the slice safety cutter, you have to push the blade out with your thumb. So once you release, it actually retracts back inside, so it's not visible. And with this one, I can just cut down the line like that, and it might take a couple of times to go down the line, and then once you do, it cuts open like that. So again, very sharp, but safe enough to use with your cutting board in hand. Okay. The other two cutters are designed for use in, they cut straight, but they can also cut curved lines. And so the next one is called a Canary Cutter, and it looks kind of like a saw or like a blade. It's really not that sharp like this if you just touch it, but in fact it actually is very sharp. And so one of the concepts that we teach in class is this idea of the blood bubble. And what the blood bubble is an imaginary ball around any tool that might be dangerous. And so what you want to do when you're using this is think about that blood bubble and how it might affect not only your work, but your work with other people as well. So if you're moving the Canary Cutter back and forth, you have to keep in mind other people in your surrounding area. And even if you're not using this, but your partner is, or somebody close to you is, just keep in mind that imaginary bubble around any sharp object. And so taking this tool, I can, again with a pre-drawn line, I can just put it this way, the Canary Cutter, and you'll notice that it cuts pretty quickly, okay? And because of the thinness of the blade, I can actually make a curve. Okay, and there you have it. And then the last tool that's also for cutting around curves, this is just called a snip. And this is it's spring activated. Down here you can see that spring, and the nice thing about that is cutting cardboard with a regular pair of scissors can be really hard on your hands, especially smaller hands. And so the snips allows me to cut without using too much force from my hand, and I can get right through there. And again, I can cut in curves. Okay, just like that, it locks up, unlocks and locks right here. Just like that, I can cut with the snips.